Over a decade of hunting in some of the world's most remote and untamed locations. Federal Premium Ammunition, powering your pursuit. King's Camo, the next era is here. Safari Club International Canada, first for hunters. Bushnell, purpose built. Their message of conservation and management has been shared with millions. So let's enjoy the experience before, during, and after pulling the trigger. This is Federal's Trigger Effect.
Hi folks, thanks for joining us here at Federal's Trigger Effect. It has been a decade on air bringing you our adventures. This is our farewell final episode we want to share with you, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we may have to choke our way through this one. Let's walk them through 10 years of what it was all about for us to get to the point we're at.
I guess to begin, we should go to the beginning.
Hi folks, this week on Trigger Effect I'm going to be in southern Manitoba doing some predator hunting, going after coyotes. I've been asked by a few of the local ranchers to come and give them a hand with some of these problem coyotes they have around their farm.
Boy, I'll never forget, Kent, when you and I sat down. It was a phone call. You know, we've had a lifetime of adventures together already, and we needed to share that.
Yeah.
We're also very passionate about trying to share a message of conservation and management that I think was absent. But it started with a logo.
We looked through everything, and granted, there's some great logos out there, but it was cookie cutter of white-tailed deer, elk, white-tailed deer, elk, white-tailed deer, elk. And we decided, nope, we don't want to be like everybody else. We want to be a little bit different. And through a process of elimination, we decided to go with the bison. Yeah.
And I remember the name. I mean, we went through some crazy names, stuff I can't even mention on TV.
Yeah.
We figured, you know, there's triggers on fishing rods, there's triggers on a gun, and we wanted to talk not so much about, you know, the hunting, but the effect of pulling that trigger.
That's where the name Trigger Effect came from. The effects and the ripple effects that happen once you pull that trigger, either on archery equipment, rifle, or fishing. We had our logo, we had our name of the show, and we started.
Yeah, so I remember, Kent, you know, we went out, it was a front-end investment that was all on our own. Like, that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. You're not just approaching, giving a chunk of money. You got to start out on your own, and we invested a lot of money into getting good cameras, like you said, the editing equipment, everything. And then one of the problems we ran into is we did our pilot episode. At that time, we sent it into Wild TV.
Yep.
And we thought we had the world, you know, like we knew what we were doing, and then all of a sudden it was like, what? We got to do 12 more episodes.
Yeah, and that was in November. That was a late October waterfowl mallard hunt that we went on. I mean, it was great. We thought it was great. We thought we were pros at this. We were just rednecks with cameras back then. I mean, it was something else. We went, filmed it, edited it, sent it into the network. Network said, yes, that's perfect. We'll sign you to a contract. We signed our names to that contract, and then the reality hit. It's November, and we need 12 more filmed and edited episodes before the year end. And we were I mean, that was a gut punch.
Well, and in all honesty, it probably took us 4 years just
Yep.
to kind of catch up and to the point where we had the proper cycle. But you know, it wasn't all, I mean, although the hunts were amazing.
Yeah.
40 yards. There we go. Yes. Good shot.
You're shooting. Good shells. The one thing that you know, I think people there is literally from season 1 to 4, the money that we did get for sponsorship basically covered the network fees, and that's it.
Well, it's a common misconception that a lot of the fans and viewers of the show watch. They think we're making money from our episodes. Those episodes cost us money. We have to pay for travel, tags, even outfitting.
Yeah.
The way we pay for that through our sponsorship funds that come in. And another misconception we have to pay to be on air.
Yeah.
It's not like syndicated television where you're getting paid per episode. We have to pay for our episodes to be on air. So in the first 4 years, that all came out of our pocket.
To kind of end this, you know, part off, it came out of our pockets to the point that we were at a breaking point.
Yes.
And we didn't quite know where we were going to head after that from season 1 to 4. So when you come back for the after this commercial break, let's talk a little bit more about it.
Yep.
Make sure you come back after this commercial break for more hunting action with Federal's Trigger Effect. Federal Premium Ammunition, powering your pursuit. Whatever you hunt, however you shoot, Federal has you covered with the best ammunition options in every category.
Well, welcome back. So basically prior to the commercial break, you know, we had a name, we had a logo, you know, we got our camera gear and we started heading into, you know, filming our seasons 1 to 4. But one of the first hurdles that we hit that we found was a real problem is we had an editor who basically did not come on the hunts.
Yes.
And so when Kent and I would come back, although the editor did a decent job, it didn't capture the essence of what we experienced in the field. And it was at that point we realized we got to go to in-house editing.
Well, without him being there, he didn't know the flow of how the hunt played out, and the clips sometimes don't show that.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of the feel and what we were trying to capture that way. So you took over the job of editing. I mean, you learned how to work the editing software, and we never looked back after that. I mean, you've been doing a fantastic job.
It was again, you know, naivety kicked in. I was like, oh, you just put this and this together. But I think one of the things that we learned early on is a hunting TV show isn't just about the hunting. It's also about the entertainment value. And we had learned that, you know, you have to kind of approach it like a TV show or a movie where, you know, the subject matter is the hunting, but the flow is about the entertainment.
Exactly. And I mean, early in season 1 or 2, I had the privilege of hunting with another big name in the industry, Remy Warren from Solo Hunters, and he made a comment to me early in our careers that I'll never forget. He said, Kent, when you get into seasons 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're going to want to burn all records of seasons 1 through to 3 because it's no good. He says, trust me, you look back at it and you'll be embarrassed. And we're not embarrassed because we went on some fantastic hunts, but boy, did we not know what we were doing.
Oh, I was embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. I go back now and I watch some of the season 1 stuff and it makes me cringe.
Yeah. We were very naive and rednecks with cameras back then. But
exactly.
But no, it was fun starting out, and like you said, we got to a hurdle where our personal finances were now funding everything on the show, and we were at a breaking point. We couldn't continue down that path.
Now, before we tell you where we go after season 4, let's join our good friends at Lethbridge College for Conservation Connection.
COVID infections in mink and the subsequent culling of a large number of mink have been reported in the media. Coronaviruses are part of a large family of viruses, and some cause cold-like symptoms in people, while others cause illnesses in cattle, camels, bats, and a few other organisms. Some coronaviruses, such as those that are canine and feline viruses, only affect those animals and don't affect humans at all. We have documented reports these days of animals infected with the SARS-CoV variant 2 from all around the world. Most of these animals have become infected after contact with people who have COVID-19. For some, we are not sure how the transmission occurred, although we can trace it back originally to a human with the virus. We have seen this in our companion animals, including cats, dogs, and ferrets, those that we keep for pets, for example. There are cases in white-tailed deer, both in Canada and the US, as well as animals that are found in zoos and sanctuaries. The deer have shown no evidence of clinical signs of disease, and all are apparently healthy. Others have not done so well. For example, 3 snow leopards in a Nebraska zoo died of the virus. So why was the decision taken to cull around 17 million mink in Denmark? Well, mink have been found to be susceptible to the SARS-CoV variant 2 infection, and the virus seems to be able to be transmitted from one animal to another via respiratory droplets. And the cull was seen basically as a way to carry out a precaution, because mink to human spread of COVID-2 has been seen to occur in Denmark, Netherlands, and possibly now elsewhere. At this time, there's no evidence that other animals play a significant role in spreading the virus that causes COVID-19 to people. As with all zoonotic diseases, the general precautions and practices we use while handling and cleaning game, or hand washing after working or recreating outside, should apply to keep us safe.
Stay tuned for more Federal's Trigger Effect. King's Camo. The next era is here. The XK7 pattern exclusively available for the XKG series.
Hi folks, thanks for coming back, and thank you Lethbridge for your great conservation connection piece. Where we left off in the last segment was we were right at a breaking point. I mean, we pounded the pavement at SHOT Show, at all the sporting events, trying to talk to the sponsors to come on board and join us on this adventure. I think that happens to a lot of the upstart TV shows. I mean, they go for about 2, 3, maybe 4 years, and personal finances run out. You just can't afford to do it anymore.
I want to really reiterate when Kent said, you know, being in debt, like we weren't just thousands of dollars in debt, we were tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And literally it was the breaking point.
Burned up our savings?
Oh, everything. Burned up savings, RSPs, everything. But we still had this belief. And when we got that phone call, I still remember to this day, I phoned you and said, we did it.
Yeah.
And we had one of the biggest umbrella companies, Vista Outdoors, pick us up, which had some of the top names in the industry like Bushnell, Primos, Federal, Savage. Like, it was just an unbelievable feeling, because our budgets went from like negative value to all of a sudden, you know, making over $100,000 to carry off a TV show.
Yeah.
And it did allow us, like, if people tell you that going out and just shooting footage is all that the TV show about, it's not. It's like any business, it's all about money. And you can do, you know, we bought better cameras, we bought a better editing studio, international hunts, and more outfitted hunts, which helped, because that's something people don't understand. You know, in our first year of Bushnell's Trigger Effect, we had to film 20 episodes.
Yes.
That's 20 successful hunts in 1 year. There's no way you can do that and do it yourself. I don't care how good of a hunter you are. There's no way you can do that by yourself.
Another thing people don't understand is the hours of filming that are needed to make 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of clips, the size of these files, all the cutaways, everything like that, and do that for 20 episodes.
Yeah.
It's tremendous amount of work.
But let's also be fair. It opened our eyes a lot too, because now all of a sudden that you're there and, you know, you've had that success, there's a lot more work that comes with it that we weren't used to. Like, you know, we had to now go to trade shows and public appearances, and we had to do seminars, and you know, we had to go to SHOT Show every year. We had to go to the Safari Club International Show. We had to go to many shows, like, and then on top of that, a little thing that, you know, Kent and I are old school, a little thing called social media came into play. And I mean, we didn't even know what Facebook was prior to the TV show, and all of a sudden now they're saying, well, you gotta have Facebook, you gotta have Twitter, you gotta have Instagram, and
they want to see your followers growing.
Yeah, and that's not us. I mean, we're not social media people. We never have been. We're guys who were raised in the bush, guiding and doing biology.
Yeah. The industry itself was a big eye opener for us. Like we walked through that threshold, through that door into the bigger name sponsors, and it was a totally different ball game.
Well, and it comes down to professionalism. Yep. I mean, that's the reality is once you step out that door, it's not just Dean and Kent, but it's Federal, it's Savage, it's Bushnell, it's Primos. And you have to represent both the industry of hunting and your sponsors. We really had pride in what we did. You know, we didn't do the heavy metal signs and the disrespecting the animals. The reality of it is that we wanted to bring the conservation, we wanted to bring the management, we wanted to bring the respect to the industry.
While we were acting professional for our sponsors, they continued to show us in sponsorship dollars, saying, you know what, you guys are good representatives of our brands, you're professional, we will continue our contract. So this was an annual contract. It could end at any minute. Yeah. And the decision that we're leaving our Farewell is our decision.
Yeah.
It was a big eye opener from seasons 1 through to 4 to seasons 5, 6, and 7. It was a big change for Trigger Effect.
So speaking of that, now, you know, after this commercial break, we're going to get to the hard part. You know, why are we quitting? So we're going to come back and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Come back and join Kent and Dean after these messages from our sponsors. Safari Club International Canada. First for hunters. Taxidermy services for Federal's Trigger Effect is provided by Hunters Union and Ray Wiens Taxidermy.
A lot of the questions we've been getting is why are we quitting? The main reason for me to quit is, as you can tell, I'm not a young man anymore. The TV show has us away a lot, and although I have a passion for hunting, I have a bigger passion for my family.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about being home more. You know, I start to have grandchildren. You know, I've got my wife, I've got my immediate family, and I just wanted to be able to spend more time with them. And then the other one is, I hate to say it, like as much as the TV show is a lot of fun to film, it does take away from the original hunting experience that I grew up with.
I agree with Dean on both aspects. Time spent away from home, you never get back.
Yeah.
We're blessed that we were able to do what we did and continue to do what we did and leave on a high note. We made a success of this show. One of the things that Dean and I mentioned when we were first putting this idea of the TV show together was we wanted to do the TV show as long as it didn't become a job.
Yeah.
We did not want to lose that passion for the hunting and the outdoors and due to carrying cameras and being signed to a network contract. But our passion to produce is starting to wane. We're getting long in the tooth, getting a little gray in the hair if we've got any left. Now it's time for us to just enjoy.
We don't want to be like that prize boxer that fights his last 10 fights and gets knocked out every time, and that's all people remember. It was a very, very tough decision for Kent and I. We shed some tears over it because it is a part of our life. And the sponsors we really want to bring light to is Bushnell Optics and Federal Premium Ammunition for being our title sponsors for the last 6 years.
But not only the sponsors played a big part, our outfitters. There's too many to mention, and if I start mentioning them, it'll be a 3-part episode because there's so many to mention, and I know I'll forget somebody. These are places you can go. Yeah. These are people you can meet. These are experiences you can have. And we want to thank those outfitters for allowing us to travel the world and have such a blessed, adventurous life.
We've had 3 conservation partners that we absolutely adore who helped us deliver the message. We had the Canadian Wild Turkey Federation, we had Safari Club International, and our very, very good friends at Lethbridge College.
But I think probably the most personal is you, the fans. I mean, I know it's tough.
It's tough, it is. I'm gonna miss that the most. Well, folks, we've come to the end of literally our last 22 minutes, season 10, and I can't say farewell without saying farewell to my best friend, my brother. Thanks for being there with me for 10 years, Ken.
Oh, Dean, you're gonna do this to me.
I know.
You know what? Yeah, we struggled.
Yeah.
It was a tough grow, tough grind to get to where we are. Wow, I didn't think this was gonna be this tough, but we've said our thank yous to everybody else. This man right here shared so many adventures with him. It was a pleasure.
I agree.
It truly was. We want to thank everyone out there for this. This has been a great experience. And you'll see us somewhere down the road.
For sure.
Thanks, brother.
This has been a Thunder Boys production.